Hey guys, it's me again. This is our 70s time hanging out. Have you ever heard the saying that fish only have a 7-second memory? I'm no scientist, so I'm not totally sure if it's true or not, but my dad absolutely believed it. About 5 years ago, on a total whim, my dad brought home a 1.8 meter or roughly 6 foot fish tank. He bought a bunch of ranchu goldfish and a few koi, and just like that, for no apparent reason, he became a fish guy. But after he'd been keeping them for almost a year, the fish kept getting these weird injuries over time. For instance, some would go blind, others had chunks missing from their tails, and a few ended up with almost no tail left at all. Some were even losing their scales. Anyway, after a while, those injured fish would inevitably die off. My dad just couldn't figure out why this was happening. I'd check on the fish every now and I noticed the issue too. Even though I didn't care that much, since they weren't my pets, I still felt bad for them, so I started secretly observing them. Eventually, I noticed something super weird. Whenever my dad fed them, the fish would go absolutely crazy, fighting over the food. The pellets would be completely gone within 2 seconds. But the strangest part was that, despite having a tank full of fish, my dad was only dropping in a tiny pinch of food. I couldn't help but ask him, "Why are you feeding them so little? There are so many fish in here, they're definitely not getting enough to eat." My dad replied with absolute confidence, "Don't you know, fish only have a 7-second memory? People say they don't even remember how much they've eaten, so it's really easy for them to overeat. You can't feed them too much, or they'll literally eat themselves to death." Hearing that just made me even more confused. Sure, I'd heard that internet myth before, but it was incredibly obvious that these fish were starving. If you just took a second to watch how aggressively they ate, it was clear something was wrong. Are those widely circulated myths always right? Personally, I was highly skeptical. But there was no point in arguing with him. My dad is pretty stubborn, and once he makes up his mind about something, it's really hard to change it. I didn't want to waste my breath trying to change his mind either. I've always felt that trying to change someone's beliefs is the hardest thing in the world. Rather than wasting that energy, it's way more practical to just take action. So, instead of directly challenging his theory, I started sneaking food into the tank every day after he went to work. And while I fed them, I would carefully watch their behavior. I really wanted to know, do fish actually have a 7-second memory? Can they really eat themselves to death? After testing it out multiple times, I discovered that fish will absolutely not eat themselves to death. Once they were full, they just stopped eating. The leftover food would simply get sucked into the tank's filtration system and end up in the mechanical filter. Thanks to my secret daily feedings, the fish stopped getting injured. My dad noticed the change and surprisingly asked me why they were suddenly doing so well. That's when I finally told him the truth. The fish had been starving, so they were turning on each other, and the weaker ones were getting torn apart. Seeing the hard evidence right in front of him, my dad finally changed his mind. In fact, later on, whenever he saw the fish chasing each other, he'd actually turn around and ask me if he was underfeeding them and whether he should add more food. As for me, just to make things easier, I bought an automatic fish feeder so a machine could do the job and give them the exact right amount of food. Looking back, it got me thinking. In life, We often run into situations where popular beliefs completely clash with actual facts. Everyone might be saying one thing, but what you see with your own eyes is completely different. As for which one you choose to believe, that's entirely up to you. The outcome you want to achieve will ultimately guide you to make the choice that's right for you. That's all for today's little story. Thanks so much for tuning in and listening. I'm Ping, a new YouTuber, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.